All right, it is just a few hours later now, and I've got the battery charger still on. The battery is still not all the way charged. I was thinking there is another variable here that maybe there is nothing wrong with the car, and that is the woman may have left something open to drain the battery. She actually only lives like 2 miles away. It's entirely possible she might have jump-started the car from completely dead battery, drove it over here, parks it, then I start the car, bring it in, and then while looking around for the mouse and everything, leaving the doors open for a little bit while I'm doing that, I could have just drained the battery to the point that it wouldn't start the car. The dashboard actually lit up, but the car was really dead, you could tell. So it is possible that the car just never charged up after being driven here from recovering after a total drain. So I guess that's possible. We will find out. What I think I'm going to do is let's go ahead and put on a tester for parasitic draw and see if we've got any kind of drainage from this battery happening right now. All right, I think the easiest way to determine if we got an issue here is using an amp clamp. So go ahead, set this up real quick here. You don't need a scope for what we're going to do here for sure, but golly, it sure makes it a lot faster and easier. That is for certain. All right. Now let's see what we got available in this engine compartment. All right, we don't want to auto off on here because this could be a while. One of the things I've noticed is that as cars get later models here, they tend to be less friendly with some of my testing methods. So they, like all of a sudden, car batteries now are positioned in a way that you can't get an amp clamp around them. Like they only started that after it became commonplace to do testing in this method. It's so frustrating. All right, let's go ahead and make sure everything is powered down on the car. Looks like we got no lights on or anything. All doors are closed all the way. All right, let's go ahead and get an amperage reading here. Okay, we're going to choose 30 amp current clamp. Oh man, no way. That's like 400 milliamps. That is a lot. That is a lot. Now, let me double check that my probe is zeroed here. Hang on a second. Golly, man, I'm telling you, they purposefully make these cars where you can't do the simple stuff anymore. All right, so let's see. We're going to zero the probe. Let's see that we're at 0. All right, let's get that current clamp back on there, and maybe that was just a 0 thing. One of the challenges is getting this stupid clamp to get the jaws to close all the way. That is absolutely essential to get an accurate reading. All right, we've got it in the right polarity there. And looks like the jaws are closed all the way. Okay, let's see what I'm reading. Okay, it's just about 0 actually. So it looks like we might have just had a panic moment there. We also want to verify that we are reading amperage here. So let's set that to 10 amps. Let me open a car door or something. Should increase our amperage. It does, but only a very little bit. Oh, that's because I'm at a 10 amp scale. Let's move that to a 1 amp. Okay, so opening the door brings us to about 400 milliamps. There's no dome light on in here. None of the dome lights work. Let me set this up to 10 amps here. 20 amps is fine. Let's turn the headlights on. Okay, that should be around 10 amps with headlights on. It's almost exactly 10 amps. Okay, so we can see, we can measure amperage for sure. So let me do this. Let's turn the ignition on. All right, everything's lit up now, looks healthy. Turn that off, close the door, and let's go ahead and watch this and see that it gets down to close to 0 again. So let me bring my amperage scale way back down now. Okay, so we're running about an amp right now. I don't see any lights on or anything. Not sure what is on exactly. Maybe a combination of computer modules or something, because I see no bulbs on inside the vehicle. Seems like all of the interior lights are off. That's something that I will often see, by the way, on parasitic draw vehicles. The owners will attempt to turn off all of the dome lighting and the accessory lighting and the courtesy lighting in an effort to prevent issues. Okay, we just took a big dive here. So right now we're probably at about 300 milliamps. So something turned off. We should get a few more stages of turn off there. This refresh rate is really, really unnecessarily fast. We can go here and capture our steps down. We can even go 5 seconds. It looks like there's another drop right there. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and drop down another amp. Let's go to 500 milliamps here. All right, so we are running probably somewhere around maybe 325, 350. There's a huge drop there. I can live with 72 milliamps. On a new battery, that's going to be totally fine. It'll actually probably go lower than that. All right, so let's bring down to another, oops, don't go off. Oh, is 500 the least that I have? I guess so. Okay, that's all right. Right there. Okay, so that dotted line is 0. I don't expect we're going to get full 0 because, again, we're going to have the clock operating and the memory and stuff. So there will be some amperage, but I'd kind of like to see it a little bit below 70. One of the other things on this car is it has a aftermarket sound system. It's got a big subwoofer. I'm not quite sure the story on that. This lady, I live in a retirement community, and this lady is in this community. It's not something you typically see with a lot of the residents here. So I don't know the whole story here, but I can't imagine that she bought a 14-inch subwoofer system for the trunk of this car, but it does have one. Those are always red flags for parasitic jaw. All right, I'm going to let that cook for a little bit, and we'll see if we get any jumps up again. But right now, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Yeah, it's a little high, but not enough that the car would die overnight, and certainly not that it would die within a few hours. All right, I'm going to come back in a little bit. All right, it's been almost 5 minutes now, and I'm not seeing any change on this. So let's see what this actual milliamperage is. It's less than 70, actually, right about there. Okay, so it's like 60 milliamps. I'm absolutely fine with that. I am not even going to blink an eye at that. That's totally fine. New battery. I'm going to say what we're going to do is I'm going to keep this car overnight, and we'll see if it doesn't start in the morning, indicating that we may have some kind of intermittent problem or something like that. The other possibility we could have, possibly could have, is a bad battery. That battery is from 824. If this had gone through multiple issues like this, draining all the way out, I would say there's a possibility the battery could be damaged. Not on one time that this lady experienced. So I think what I'm going to do is get the battery charger back on it. We're going to charge it to 100%. We'll let it sit overnight. Maybe I'll even do a battery test tomorrow. But right now I'm not seeing anything wrong. All right. I think we're going to call that this was just a not fully charged battery when it was brought to me. We got to go on the evidence in front of us. All right. Okay, this lady just lives a couple miles away, so if it does turn out that we've got some issue that pops up later, it won't really be a big deal. I don't see anything wrong. But I do want to get that battery up to 100% charge and then do a battery test in the morning. Okay, we'll go ahead and trickle charge that. And we will have to go now, and one of the problems is with the battery dying like that, my guess is that we lost our TPMS codes. That is most likely to happen. So I think we'll go ahead and give that a try next. Let me go ahead and get a scan tool. All right, let's check the TPMS light that's on there. I need to do some updates, so we'll do that later. Let's go ahead to auto scan. Let's run the parts lottery. I love this thing. All right, we've got a Toyota here. And let's just do quick access here. We don't need to scan everything. All righty, what is our TPMS? Right there on a K-line network. Okay, TPMS, this monitors the tire air pressure. Good. We got no DTCs. So it looks like the DTC probably cleared with the battery dying. I'm going to go ahead and just clear that anyway, just to be sure. Make sure we get accurate data. Let's get our data here. All right, let's see here. ID 1 tire inflation. Why is there 2 of these? I don't know. We are going to just select both of these here. 3 pressure and 4 pressure. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so we do have some readings here. Okay, one of them is in kilopascals, the other one's in PSI is why there's 2 of them. Okay, so we got 36 PSI, I read 37. We've got no reading on number 3. We've got 36 PSI, again I read 37 on number 2, and we've got none in number 1. So this tells us that the TPMS module is working, and this is guaranteed to be no battery activity from the TPMSs on a couple of these tires here. So, oh wait, we just got number 1 coming on board here. Number 3 does not work. Number 1 just came on board, and that could be possibly just because the garage is heating up and that battery was cold and dead, and now it's warming up and it just came online. But number 3 does not appear to be working. Yeah, I don't believe this is anything other than just bad batteries in the tires. They'll have to get to a tire shop to take a look at that. This is as far as I'm going to go, but I'm going to tell them that that's what I suspect. Very interesting, and I'm not quite sure the rationale, but I find that every time I get people with new tires, they always have TPMS lights on because they never replace the batteries and the tire pressure sensors in the tires. And I just don't understand why a tire shop wouldn't upsell that service. Every customer that I've talked to says they never mentioned the option, but I just don't understand why a tire shop wouldn't say, hey, as long as we're replacing your tires, we recommend servicing the sensors in there. I just don't see them do it, and I'm not quite sure the reason for that. Seems like it would be an easy upsell. All right, well, I'm not worried about the TPMS. We're done with that. The only thing that I'm worried about is the mouse in the car. All right, so what we're gonna do to try to find this mouse is use one of my favorite Christmas gifts from last year, and that is the Finder borescope, which just connects right up to your phone. And you also have this nice articulating scope here with a nice bright light. So let's see if we can connect up here and put it up on the screen behind me using AirPlay. There it is right there. Let's see if this will connect up. Oh, look at that, it does. Okay, now one problem with this is that for some reason you do not have the ability to put it into a landscape mode, which would be really, really nice, but we're unable to do that. But that's all right. It sure beats me doing what I've normally done, and that is trying to focus the camera on the phone while I'm using the borescope. So this should be a lot better. Let's go ahead and give you guys a look at the TV. One of the things we can do is we can go into the air ducting. I'm just going to smell in the air duct. I don't smell anything in the air duct, so I'm not expecting we'll see anything, but we want to look for any evidence if there's any urine puddles or droppings or anything in here. Let's see if we can manipulate down the duct here. Hang on. All right, so we can feed down the duct here. We can look around. All right, yeah, I'm not seeing anything evident here. All right, gonna head over to the passenger side. All right, let me take a smell here. Yeah, I really don't smell anything in the air ducts. I'm not expecting an air duct issue here, but I can tell you they can do that. As a matter of fact, there was one time a guy was complaining of really poor heat performance, and I determined that there was a blockage in an air duct. There was no mouse smell or anything in this car, but I crawl under the dash, I take apart the air duct, and when I took the air duct apart, this huge mouse nest just falls right in my face with poo and dead mice from probably years ago and everything. It was disgusting. All right, so I don't think we're going to find anything in the air vents here. Really good places to look are like here. Where this carpeting right here, we can see a lot of evidence of mice here. And if we flip up this carpet tab here, it's kind of hard to do this with the borescope, but we flip up this tab where the seat bolts in, and if we look through there, you see how we can go under the carpeting here. This is usually where I find them. They like to be under the carpet because it's warmer under the carpeting. And also you've got the heat from the exhaust and stuff. Well, there's definitely some evidence that a mouse was living under this carpet. Let's go ahead and feed up a little more here. Sorry, I know the camera work isn't that good. Oh, look at all this evidence here. So we'll move along, but you see how there's these little tunnels under the carpeting? The mice love this, I tell you. Looks like some bugs there. Is that some insects? Pretty gross. But what this is, yeah, there's some kind of mealworm looking things there too. Probably what mice may be eating on. So we can see that the carpeting on this car would have to be ripped up in order to not only get rid of the odor and clean all that up and everything, but also get rid of food sources and stuff that are still present here. But there's definitely been somebody living in there and storing up some food, I guess. All right, let's look at another place. All right, moving the seats up, I'm finding we got some Lysol. I'd never heard of this before. Armor All disinfectant. Never even heard of that before. There's all kinds of disinfectant stuff. There was some air freshener thing I found here under the seats. You typically won't just find the mice under the seats or anything. They like to bury themselves, really hide. Stuff like this in your car. This is like a old McDonald's tray or something. That is just begging for mice, man. They love that stuff. It's the same material that our animal handlers will use when I have experimental mice in the lab. That's what they use. The mice just absolutely love that. All right, we're gonna look under this rear seat here. So here's the rear seat. Gonna look under here. Now it doesn't look like anybody's living here. Under this back seat at least, because I'm not seeing the mouse droppings. I'm just seeing a lot of typical dirt that you would find, but no chewed up stuff. That looks like a piece of plant material there. We also see this nice fluffy under seat material is untouched. This would be prime for a mouse to make a nest out of. We don't see any evidence that the mice are here. So barking up the wrong tree here. I think they're more in the front of the vehicle. We'd also, on the floorboard here, we don't see any poo, we don't see the mouse droppings, we don't see chewed up material. So this is pretty clean under here, well, at least relatively clean. All right, we've got a little access hole in the front carpeting. That's gonna lead to a little tunnel way. I do this actually more than I would like to admit. And I can tell you, I've never just like, oh, hey, there's a mouse under the seat. It's never like that. You really do have to dig for these guys. There is surprising amount of room under the carpets that create these tunnel ways that the mice really like. Here's a wire harness here. Oh, that's a bummer. We've got what clearly is some nest material right underneath that wire harness right there. That would not be a place you would want a mouse, right by that harness. And we can see that there's lots of debris in this area particularly. Yeah, there's definitely more than one mouse has been here. This is quite a mess. See how you can crawl right up under the dashboard from under the carpet and everything. I've never found a live mouse in a car. I think a lot of it is by the time people have this problem, they spray so many chemicals and everything in there that it either kills the mice or drives them away. There's some more chewed up material. All right, well, I think I've had about as much fun as I can have here. Was kind of hoping to find a body for you, but I think there's enough evidence here that they really just need to get this carpeting ripped up. All right, well, I believe that will conclude for this video unless I find tomorrow morning that the car doesn't start. So I'm going to have to sit on this until tomorrow morning, and if the car starts tomorrow and there's no problems with the battery, I will put a footnote at the end of this video. If, however, that battery is dead again tomorrow, well, we'll have a part 3. That owner does have their hands full with cleaning up this mouse disaster, but in my experience, typically, if they want me to really pursue this, what I do is I remove the seats, I pull up all the carpeting, and it's kind of a mess. And to be honest with you, not one of my favorite things to do. We'll see what the customer wants to do. All right, take care.